Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. This is Cristina Osborne of the Property VA. I'm running a client session, and I will be talking about systemization. Hopefully, there's lots of practical things here that my clients and their VAs can implement if you're watching the replay. And if there's anything that you yourself have any questions that you can ask live, you can simply contact me by email. It's info@thepropertyva.com. So without further ado, let us begin. Topic for today, systemization, specifically so that we can all start working with our VAs more efficiently and more effectively. So let's start with philosophy. Before we even talk about anything practical, it's good to talk about philosophy to see what are the reasons behind the things that we do. And the first one is somewhat of a scary one, and it is this: you should fire your VA. And what do I mean by that? I mean, fire anybody who is indispensable. I don't mean like literally fire. I mean that make sure that their position is not filled by someone who you are so dependent on that if that person leaves, and VAs are human, VAs can leave, it might be something not malicious. Maybe they marry, or they graduate, or they go back to school, whatever their life situation is. We can't rely on someone to be there forever for us. Okay, so fire anybody who is indispensable, but I don't mean literally fire that person. What I mean is make sure that the VA is replaceable, not to get rid of the VA, but to make room for growth and promotion. That is to say, have you communicated to your VA what their future looks like working for your business? Okay, do they have a means of seeing themselves promoted in your business and their own positions being replaced by someone else? That is to say, they should be happy that their position is replaceable so that they have room for moving up in your business. Okay, so as a business owner, you must not make your VA indispensable. Make your VA fireable, redundable. Is that a word? I don't know. Excuse me. The point is, oh my God, I've lost my voice. The point is that even yourself, you should be redundant in your own company. That's why you're hiring a VA, right? You want the VA to replace you. And then later on, you want your VA to be replaceable by other VAs. And this is good news for you, because this means that you are scaling your business, you are expanding your business, you're growing your business. So that's my first philosophy: fire your VA. Never be too dependent on your VA, okay? Philosophies regarding outsourcing and delegation. Your VA cannot do everything. I know, right? We are business owners. When the first time we hire a VA, we think, wow, this is great. We can get the VA to do everything for us. And you are setting yourself up for a really, really painful experience later on, I think, okay? Your VA cannot do everything. This means that you are setting the VA up to be overstressed, overwhelmed, and that can only lead to one thing. The VA can just say goodbye to you, or not even say goodbye, just disappear, okay? Right, Filipino VAs in particular, culturally, we have a hard time saying no. That's just what it is. So imagine a situation where the business owner has no idea that culturally Filipinos don't know how to say no. And this business owner gives everything over to the VA, and the VA will not say no. The risk is, as I mentioned earlier, that the VA can get pretty overwhelmed, okay? So the risk to your business, VA might choose to leave. VA will make costly mistakes because they'll say yes to something they don't know how to do. And they won't even approach you and ask for guidance or, help, because asking for help is scary, right? Of course, there's some VAs who are not like this. They have overcome their own cultural, not upbringing, programming. That's the word, cultural programming, right? And they'll go, yeah, I feel like saying no, but I probably shouldn't say no. So they overcome that. But you know, it's great that if your VA is like that, or if you have, I'll teach you later why you need systems in place in order for you to kind of mitigate that culturally. But if you don't have that system, you're not aware of that cultural mindset, then you might make the mistake of thinking, wow, this is great, I can get the VA to do everything. That won't last long, from from experience, not my own experience, but like from other people's experience. Okay, so important but not urgent business tasks get pushed back, delayed, and ignored. Okay, in business, we need to do 100 things, sometimes 1,000 things. Okay, they're all equally important. Like emails are just as important as closing a deal that you're negotiating that will, make your business, I don't know, a pot of £100,000, for example, or more, right? Or even a yearly income, rental income of 5,000 or £6,000. In our minds, when we have things like, okay, do I ignore answering emails, or do I ignore losing this deal? You can't make that decision. Both things need to be done. You ignore emails, you've got clients waiting for you. And so what happens is that when all business tasks need to be ticked, the box need to be ticked, but there's only so much time. Your VA can only do so many things, like yourself as well. You can only do so many things. So the important but not urgent business tasks get pushed back. And often the urgent business tasks are the ones that won't bring you money sometimes, because the important ones, they go, yeah, that can wait, because you don't need to answer that email today. You don't need to you don't need to go to the viewing today, for example, right? They can be postponed, but they're the ones that will bring you the money. So it's the urgent ones, the noisy ones are the ones that won't bring you money, but they're the ones that get attended to most frequently than the important and high value tasks. Okay, so systemization. Okay, if I'm going too fast, please just kind of stop me and say, hey, Christina, I've got a question. Okay, systemization sounds like a scary word, and it somewhat is, but also we can look at it from a point of view or a mindset of that it is doable, even with very low tech and low budget resources. Okay, don't worry about getting everything done or anything perfect. Okay, systemization is a process that, even if you say, right, everything's set up now, it only works when you and the VA use it and get feedback from it and testing it and going, right, okay, this seems to work, let's keep that, or let's even make it even better. And you might look at another process that you've systemized and say, that's not quite so efficient. Or, like when city planners design places where people pass and people walk, and they want people to walk like around the hedge, for example, but where people walk is actually cut through the grassy bits, right? So it does make you think, well, why didn't they just design the paths where people naturally will flow? That's the same way with systemization. Even to our best intentions, when we design things, we end up doing it differently in practice. So it's always about testing, measuring, and adjusting. TMA, test the system, measure what works, and then adjust what doesn't work. Okay. And importantly, do it bit by bit. Don't try to systemize everything in your business in one go. Okay. For example, you can just systemize email templates, and that's amazing because the VA or yourself no longer have to write out each email from scratch all the time. Okay. So if you systemize that, that's great. That's like one thing systemized, and then you can work on other things later on. Okay. So that's the philosophy behind systemization and working with your VA so far. And the next one is systemization in 5 minutes. It doesn't actually really take 5 minutes, but my point in saying 5 minutes is that you can do systemization in chunks of 5 minutes. Aaron, you've got a question. You can unmute yourself.
Hi. Yeah, just so when it comes to the systemization, I've just been looking at this, and I was thinking about doing videos, so I was looking around at different companies that do videos for people, but of course it's only me that knows about my business anyway, right? So is videos good? I mean, when I've done text, I've tried to do an operations manual before, like with every single angle of the business. I sat down, probably didn't do what you just said, and done 5 days of writing out from like sorting out keys to like what forms to fill out. But of course, all that changes over time, right? So when you do it, and then by the time someone else comes, it's all out of date. So yeah, any suggestions on that? Yeah.
I understand why you're doing it by video, because that's the easiest way for you to communicate what's in your head, and that only you know and only you can do, because you know the process off by heart. And so you go, well, I'll create a video, and that's great. But videos are meant to be instructions. They're not meant to be the actual system. What you can do when you record videos of yourself giving instructions is that, as standard practice, get your VA to be the one to systemize the instruction that you gave. Okay. Does that make sense? For example, I'm just going to skip the steps and go to step 2. Okay. Here's the, what's the term? The features or the elements. There you go. The elements that you or your VA can utilize to create a system. Okay. And you don't need software for this. You don't need anything too technical. Create checklists. Okay. When you describe something in a video, you're describing steps as well. So literally just get the VA to go, okay, here's what I need you to do. And even in your video, if you go, oh, wait, backtrack, I forgot to mention this. The VA should be smart enough to go, all right, so that's the step before the next instruction. Get the VA to write it down, step 1, step 2. And that is already a big step towards systemization, because these are all the elements that you need to create a system. You need checklists, you need steps, and you need templates. That's what it is. So even if you give the instructions by video, that needs to be translated, and it doesn't have to be you, that needs to be translated onto one or a few of these elements: checklists, steps, templates. Okay. Does that help?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I'm just trying to think of an example here, like smoke tests. Like we have to do them every week. It should be very systemized, right? But I still haven't really done it. So is it best to just, I mean, every single property's got something different about it. I was going to do like a video for the property, and then that would show where everything is and what type of system it's got, the smoke system. And then what you have to do in that, this is, it's not for a VA, but it's for, it's just systemization still, right? But is that then, so how would you do like text with that? Like, because you can use YouTube, right, for the video. It's like, seems to me like the cheapest way of doing it, like YouTube with a set of videos. But how can you put the text with it? Underneath it or something?
Are you talking specifically about when you create videos that you get what do you call this? The subscript? What is it again? I forget the thing on the subtitle. There you go. That it creates the subtitles immediately, or are you talking about something else?
Well, I mean, because you say like checklists. I'm just trying. I suppose what I'm saying is how's it best to incorporate video and text, and then how do you sort of try to eliminate as best you can everything going out of date? But I suppose there's nothing you can do about
Aaron,
that.
Aaron, it's Neil
Yeah.
here. I'm not no expert at this because I've got no idea, but I'm just looking at it from an outsider's perspective. My view on this, I would have thought, would have been to create a document that refers to the YouTube video. So in other words, you've changed the document, but the YouTube video gives the basics of everything that's going on. But I may be wrong. I can't see you can do it. You can't do it the other way. You can't point the YouTube to the document. So you have to do it one way or the other. So you have to incorporate.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got an operations
bookmark.
manual, so I think I'll link it together like that. Yeah.
Aaron, I'll bookmark that question because I can show you something that I think relates to what Neil suggested and hopefully will answer your question. Okay, I'll bookmark it. Let me go through step 1 first, and then when we go to step 3 is when I'll show you. Okay.
Cristina, are we going to get a copy of these, a hard copy of these slides?
Here's what I'm going to share with you. I used to, when I do my workshops and sessions, I use slides. What I'm using now, hey, you guys, you're making me skip all these steps. It's step 3.
Sorry.
Step 3 is Notion is what I'm doing. But yes, Neil, I will give you the copy. Okay, I'll send it to all the clients. I'll also send the replay. Okay.
Thank you.
But yes, step 1, first and foremost, we need to, and here's the nice thing about systemization is you can be a one-man band and you can be systemized, right? How do we do this? We think of ourselves as different departments. So let's say you are a self-employed person, you haven't got any other staff, you're just yourself. We realize that everything that we do in business can be compartmentalized, even if it's just mentally or physically, maybe in folders or what. The point is that we identify and name it. Okay, we call it, oh, this is the sales department job, even if it's just yourself. And then you go, oh, this is the marketing person's job, again, even if it's just you or the same VA doing all of these things. The fact is that we need to be able to identify at which step we are, or at which process we are looking after at any given point. Okay, now of course the idea or the ideal is that we don't try to be different departments at any one given time, right? That we want to be one department in certain days and blocks of time. Okay, so this is the important reason why, for me, the best tool for systemization, and it's the cheapest one as well, is to just start with a default diary. Okay, when do you do your accounts? Is it every day at any time? Anytime asks you for an invoice or anytime asks you to pay something? That's not being systemized. Okay, if you say Fridays are my accounting days and bookkeeping days, then that's when the accounts department or the finance department gears up and performs their duty. Okay, when do we do marketing? Is that once a week? Is that every morning? Is that every afternoon? 2 days, two afternoons in the week? That's up to you. That's your default diary. That's how you do your business. So that is step 1, is really to just identify what department is doing what and when. Okay, that's it. These are, now depending on whichever business school of thought you follow, these are the kind of common departments that may be operating in your business right now. Operations and admin. That includes things like filing, records management and records keeping. What else? Let's say CRM, for example, the housekeeping of the CRM, that can still be operations and admin. Okay. Marketing, that's things like, for us property investors, sending out letters, calling estate agents, networking or attending networking meetings, for example, that can be marketing. Sales might be, okay, who's in our pipeline? Who are the people who rang back and are interested in the message that we sent out in the landlord letter, for example? Then that's sales. Okay, finance, Our rent being paid on time? Do we need to pay any suppliers, etc.? Okay, or do we need to remortgage, for example? That's still under finance. Okay, delivery, customer service. Are our guests from the service accommodation happy? Are our own clients from a different business happy? So I'm just running through all of the possible departments. Okay, these are suggestions. These are not like rules or anything. Again, depending on your business school of thought, some people think that there are 6 departments. Some people swear that there are 9 departments or 12 or 4 departments. That's entirely up to you. The point is that you identify which department is doing what and when they're doing that. Okay. So that's step 1. Step 2. Oh wait. Step 2 is itemize. I think we discussed this very, very briefly earlier, answering Aaron's question. Checklists. Checklists are good for reviewing the work that we're doing before we hit submit, before we send out the letters, before we reply to a customer email. Therefore, quality control, which is, part of systemization, and therefore making sure it's a bit like not just quality control, but that we haven't overlooked anything. Okay. Steps tells us how to do things and in what order we need to do it. And this is why it's so important for all of us to think that systemization is a work in progress. It's not like set in stone, because this is when we realize, okay, we've said that the steps 1 is this, step 2 is that, step 3, etc. But in practice, when we actually do it, there's an extra step that hasn't been mentioned that everyone does automatically because they've been doing it for so long. But when a new person comes in and skips that step because no one's written it down in the instruction, then you could say that's where the crack shows up, right? So it's important to just review, the systemization that we're doing. It's always a work in progress, nothing set in stone. Templates help us to cut, what's the term? To shave minutes of how we do things. Okay, it's already a template. We don't need to recreate everything all the time. If it's something that we do on a regular basis, it doesn't have to be recreated from scratch every single time. So templates are for time saving. Okay, so that's quality control, that's for instructions, and that's for time saving. Actually, all of it is for time saving anyway, because when you've got steps and it's written out for you, it saves you time from like forgetting how to do things. Okay. So that's that so far. We're almost actually done. I don't know if I'm doing this session a bit too quickly. I'm sure there's lots of questions later, so I'd be happy to take that on. Step 3, when we systemize, we are so fortunate that we live in a time where we can actually leverage software to help us with the systemization. And there's so many offerings out there that are free and fantastic. Okay. Yes, some features might only be available using a premium subscription, but even the premium subscription feels like peanuts when you pay for them when you look at what they do for your business. Okay, so there's Trello. Most of you have used Trello, or at least are somewhat familiar with Trello. Asana is like a second step above Trello, in my opinion. And then I've discovered Notion just recently. And I feel like Notion is the best among the other like 2 so far, because I've tried Trello. And then I thought, this isn't working. And then I tried Asana. Oh, wow, this is fantastic. This is doing incredibly well. Better than Trello. Until I tried Notion, I thought, okay, that's it. That tops anything else. And then I tried ClickUp, Podio as well. And so far, I think Notion is the best of them all. I don't know. Have you guys tried Notion before? No. I'll show you what it does. Okay. So, okay, let's go to.
I've only just got about 25% of learning Asana so far. Don't give me another one, please.
Sorry, Neil. No, honestly, you know, this is just about improvement, right? I know you've spent however many weeks just getting the hang of Asana, and then I go show you another thing. I'm just like kind of excited to share with you, I guess, because I've only I started using Trello about a month ago, and I thought, oh man, this is so great. I think I want to share this with my clients. So, you know, like on Asana, you can create boards, and the boards you can view as lists, right? Or timelines and all that, and calendars as well. But essentially, all you have still is like a board, okay? On Notion, you can do that, but you can do other things as well. It's like a collaboration platform. When you go, how do I explain this? Here's what I'm gonna do.
Maybe we need a separate session for that. If we could have like a half an hour or something, you just show us a quick run through.
Yes, I can definitely do that. So I've created, here's the thing. Can I show you just 5 minutes what I've created on Notion, which I'm more than happy for you guys to, if you play the replay to your own VAs, they can perhaps, if they felt like it, or if you're happy for them to do so, they can recreate the system for them. This is my new clients, by the way, are paying me $450 for this a month. But I'm more than happy to just share this with you guys. Okay, the property VA system. This is my new outsourcing service for new clients, wherein I get 3 VAs to work for them instead of just 1 VA. I manage the VAs. I orchestrate, organize, and supervise what the VAs do. It's not so that the clients only contact me. That's not the point. The client will still contact the VAs directly, but that I don't just leave the clients alone and figure out everything that they need to do with the VAs. Okay. There's a team directory. It looks complicated. It isn't. Absolutely, it's not. And so here are the team directory is just for a report, a library, I guess, of who's who in the client's team. There's the VA Workspaces, and here is where it gets like really nice and meaty. The admin VA looks after all of these things. And it looks complicated, but it's not. It's just that what I've created are separate workspaces for everything that the VAs do. Even if this is just carried out by one VA, even if this is just carried out by the business owner, systemizing things is kind of like hiring a part-time VA in itself. Okay, so imagine that you're paying, I don't know how much you guys are paying for your full or part-time VAs, but imagine like saving 250, 300 pounds a month just because you've systemized something and you don't need a VA to do that bit, because systemizing is doing the work of a part-time VA. Okay. And you've got things like template messages. So it's there. This is just like a filing system, but also a collaboration platform, and also a project management platform is what Notion is. Okay, so you've got here the default diary, template messages, the CRM for the client. This is the template. Okay, so this isn't a client-specific workspace. So things like suppliers, tenants, property investors, financial investor, and other, like business coach or, I don't know, mentor maybe, or third-party software. You can use Notion as a jump-off point to get to a third-party software if you already have or use a third-party system. The admin VA also looks after ad hoc tasks, raising finance. And here's the thing with portfolio. You can have, because here's what Notion does. It can go as wide as you want it to, wide as in many different workspaces, but also as deep as you want it to, because it goes through within one workspace or one process or one task, several different subtasks under it, and filing systems and calendars and all that. Okay, because this is what Notion can do. So here you can create boards so that you can look after the process, the steps for this kind of process. So this is like the leads board. All the leads that come through, this is the process that the client needs to go through, okay? So when my clients sign up, I've already got this board for them as a system. They can rename it, rearrange it, or add, or do their own step 1, step 2. But at the very least, if they didn't have their own system, there's already a process steps here. So initial call to vendor and agent, etc., all the way to either offer accepted or offer rejected, in which case the follow-up is scheduled. Okay, but for each of these, you have a card for the lead, and then you can have you can set up questions within the system, within the card, so that this is your own sales process. Okay, this is the system for your sales process, that you need these questions. Okay, what is the building type? What are the number of bedrooms? Asking price, market value. And this helps you delegate tasks to the VAs, because then you can say things like, okay, these are boxes that are unanswered. I'll get the VA to find links, to find me comparables for this property. Okay, I wouldn't outsource deal stacking as such, because that's not a checklist-based task. That's more like as a business owner, only you know how you're going to make the deal stack at the end of it, because you know your financial situation, you know what kind of finance you're going to get for the property, and you know what the exit is. Your VA doesn't know that, okay? And then a space to upload site visit reports, a space and a checklist. Remember, checklist is part of systemization. A checklist for completing this task, everything about checking a deal, okay, and going through the leads in your pipeline. Have we got a legal pack? Do we even need a legal pack? Is there a brochure? You can upload files right here on the workspace. And then buying stage. If we're in the buying stage, do we have more documents to upload? Are we in the work stage? Do we have quotes, site pictures, receipts, etc.? Then you can add more things that are related to this property. And before I do that, I just want to show you that you can break the process down into several steps, in which case, like this one is the leads process. This one is the buying process, and you can move the same card over to the next board. Because let's say the offer was accepted, fantastic, we're in the buying process. We need to instruct solicitors. We need to go through mortgage applications or whatever finance you're choosing or selecting for this project. Conveyancing in progress, issues raised. Are there any issues? What are the issues? Exchanged and completed. Now we're moving on to the works process. And so this same card can move on to here, the works process, all the way to it being completed. Furnishings and decoration completed. You can even include cookie cutter standards. And remember, this is just the portfolio workspace. There's like many other workspaces within your own business that you can address so that you can systemize it. Okay. It could be that you've got decorating standards for all of your properties, or within the one property, if you've got specific paint colors or furnishings that you've chosen, each of the property address. So here's another workspace. I'm going to open that shortly. So property address, let's say this is, I don't know, number 12 Rose Cottage Street, whatever, okay? So that you have a record for each of the properties that you hold or control. You can create tags or property types. I don't mean property like the property address, but properties like categories. So you can say that this is an HMO, or it's let to the council, or it's let to a landlord, it's an R2R, for example. This is under a buy-to-let mortgage, or this is on a bridging loan, other finance, unencumbered. We've purchased this. This is a lease option. This is a rent-to-rent. Okay, when did we acquire this property? You can add other properties as well. You can, so this is the name of the property, and this is the property type. The property type can be a multi-select, so that you can assign different categories according to the property, or it's a single select, such as these cases are single select. It's a purchased, okay, or it's a PLO. All right. And down here, so within the property records, you can upload documents, everything to do with this property, the licenses, certificates, insurance, etc., pictures before and after, and furnishing, decorating records. So you've got a place for which the VA can perform her task, her role as a property VA, as a business support VA. Okay, so you yourself as a business owner, you've got all the records in one place, and you know where to find things. You know, okay, right, this room needs to be repainted. What did we use? We used Dulux, I don't know, diamond or whatever it is, and the color is pipe gray or something. Okay, and then there's, for each room, there's a main wall and a feature wall. The flooring is also there. Add details if you want to make a record of anything else that you use, maybe what kind of light bulb, what light bulb fitting, what wattage, what color, that can also be included on here. So I'm showing you like a way to, I mean, this is hyper systemized, okay? This is like to the detail, and you don't need to go there straight away. I'm just showing you the potential of how you can actually systemize your business, okay? And then within the property record, so again, we're just in the record of one property here. And each of these records are in separate cards so that it is contained. Whereas maybe right now you're using Google Drive and you can contain it in files, but the only thing you can do in Google Drive is store files. You can't use it for collaboration. You cannot use it to create checklists. You cannot use it to monitor the progress of the property, for example, if you're doing works. Whereas using a platform like Notion, you can do that all in one place. So these are, although it's in a checklist format, it's a kind of, when it says here tenant finding, let's say you need to find tenants, you've got here a list of marketing strategies for finding tenants. And you can get the VA to go through each of these lists. And you've got a process for that. And you go, okay, VA, I need you to call letting agents today. Okay, so that task is done. Look, here are several other options that we can go through if using letting agents was not a successful process, okay, we'll use open rent, or you can outsource this all at once. Okay, you tell the VA, we need to utilize all of this in order to get the room let. Okay, or if you've got another way of finding tenants, then by all means just change this list. Okay, this is a suggestion, not so much an instruction for my clients. Okay, listing copy. How did we describe this property? Again, using templates as part of your systemization. Instead of writing the description over and over again for all of these marketing strategies, we've got the same description to disseminate throughout all of these platforms. Occupancy, you can have a list of the rooms in the property and which rooms are empty and which rooms are let. So you can have like, okay, so this is a single let, so we don't really need all of these other rooms, then just delete them. Okay, you delete them. Notion works like a Word document, but like a Word document, Word document, in that, okay, you type on it just like you would with any Word document, but you can upload files, you can tag people, you can add deadlines as well. I'll show you shortly how to do all of that. But yes, just like a Word document, you can simply delete that. Okay, you can also undo if you didn't want to do that. Tendencies. So again, we're still in the same property folder or workspace. And under tendencies, let's say this is an HMO, and then we've got 4 tenants. Name of tenant, you can call this tenant, I don't know, Stephanie Brooks, for example. Okay, Stephanie is occupying room 1. Stephanie is a private tenant. Stephanie is a current tenant. She started the tenancy 1st of November. 6 months is her minimum. I'm receiving £700 from her each month. This is her contact details, emails, etc. Payment behavior, she's on time, or she's like kind of slightly delayed or severely delayed. Some of this would be like payment behavior, could be that you are the ones monitoring this, or it could be that you are assigning a VA to monitor payment behavior. Okay, but the point is that it's there. It's part of the system that you utilize in order to run your rental property business more smoothly. Okay, and imagine if everything is in one record in one place. You get your VA to go, look, we need to chase this person up with payments. Okay, can you please email the tenant, or this tenant hasn't submitted a meter reading or whatever it is. And then the VA comes back to you, what's the tenant's contact details? It's none of that. You're like eliminating those steps already because it's all the records are in one place. Or you go, okay, we've started the tenancy. Hey, look, everything here is empty. Why is that empty? VA, can you please make sure that you fill in all these fields? Get her to look at the ASTs, fill it in here so that everything is in one place. The records of each tenant is in one place. Okay, you've got here checklists. Again, checklist part of systemization. Here are the documents for tenants to submit. Here are the documents for landlords to submit. Checklist before moving in, checklist for moving out, so that you can see visually when something's not ticked, you get the VA to report to you once a week or even every day and say which boxes are not ticked. Do we need to address it today? Okay, so what happens is that the VA doesn't just wait for you for instructions. The VA proactively goes through your records and checks out the checklists and goes, okay, we haven't done this. Do we need to attend this? Or do you want me to follow up in a week's time, in a month's time? Okay. Documents. So again, this is like templates as well. What are the standard documents that you need to submit to tenants. It's already here. The VA doesn't need to every time repeat the process. It's there. She can download this to her computer and email it to the tenant. Okay. So what I'm going to do, instead of going through all of these workspaces, because I just showed you the a portion of it. There are other workspaces like content marketing. You've got here a library of branding assets, a library of core content, a library of channels, and a library of other content like your marketing brochures, for example, if you're a sourcer, property sourcer, or if you raise funds using investor finance, what is your investor information sheet? It's all there. Okay. So what I'm going to do, instead of showing you each of these individual workspaces, is that I'll just show you, I hope to do this in 2 minutes, what Notion can do. And here's what you can do in Notion. You can simply type instructions, okay? Let's say for your own mental note, you go, okay, I need to do, I need to work on my website. I need to call so-and-so estate agent. You can do it like that. Again, it's like a Word document, or you can elevate it a little bit more. If you use the /type key, Notion will open a dialog box to show you what blocks you can insert. These are all the features that you can utilize from Notion's platform. Text, you just start writing plain text. You don't need the / key. You can create pages. You can create a to-do list. So let's create a to-do list. You go, I need to update blog. I need to call estate agent, etc. I need to meet my VA later. Okay, so that's a to-do list. We choose a different one. Let's say we want to create a calendar. So within the calendar, the only thing that Notion can't do is sync this calendar with your existing, like, let's say you use Google Calendar, okay? Which isn't necessarily an issue because your Google Calendar can perform in how it's performing or supporting your business right now. When you use it on Notion, a calendar is simply a way to locate records. So let's say you did a property viewing, or you will do a property viewing tomorrow, the 4th of November, then this performs separately to your Google Calendar, and that your Google Calendar is meant to remind you when you need to do viewings and where you need to do viewings. Whereas the calendar on Notion is a way of organizing records. So I'll show you if I click on this. Okay, let's say viewing and number 4 Leeds Road. I don't know, Huddersfield, for example. Okay, you can create a process here. You can create a system. What are my standard questions? Did I take any pictures before and after? So you can have this as a template for all the property viewings that you do. Let's say you've just got that, okay? Which means that you've got a record organized in a calendar view of all the viewings that you did for November. Or if calendar is a little bit too visually messy for you, you can just do it as a list. And you've got here all the viewings. Let's say you did another viewing on the 22nd. And this time you viewed number 12, Alphabet Road. again, if this is a template, then you only need to copy the same page, and then you have here the same process that you do when it comes to viewing properties. If I select list view, I have here all the viewings that I did for November as a list view. So then I can go back to it later on if I wanted to go through, if I wanted to do a review of all the properties that I viewed for the months of November. Okay, so that's one thing that you can do in Notion. We like to do Kanban boards, don't we? So that's how we do a Kanban board in Notion. It's the same process. We hit the / keypad or button on our keyboard, and we can select what we want to create. So does this help? I'm gonna pause now. I just wanted to show you that when we systemize, there are 3 things we can utilize in order to create a system. We can create a steps list and instructions in steps format. We can create checklists for quality control. We can create templates in order to be more time efficient and not have to repeat everything from scratch all the time. So those are the 3 main ways of systemizing. And I'm just showing you that you can leverage software to do that. Notion is a fantastic software to do such things. And I was just sharing with you how to do this. I want to answer Aaron's question earlier. Okay, VA Workspaces. I'll show this to you, Aaron. Okay. When I onboard my clients into this system, even the onboarding itself has a process. Okay, here are onboarding pages. But what I wanted to show Aaron, specifically with this question of he creates videos, how does he then instruct that to the client? I've got here, okay, so when I onboard a client, I show her whenever you need to assign an ad hoc task to a VA, here's how you do it. Okay, so just click new, etc. And then underneath that, I include a video instruction on how to do it. So I don't just describe it to the client. I then say, if you wanted to watch the same instructions in video form, here's the link. And then that's how you can do it. Does that answer your question? Yeah. You're muted.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. Sorry, this thing's on. Just 1 second. So you could, I like that you can redo the video then, can't you? You have a link to the video, and the videos are going to be quite short anyway, I suppose. So you just have to be prepared to redo the video. So that can work well. I've just, like the last guy was saying, I just got used to Asana. So I don't know. This is a very in-depth system that you've been showing us. This Notion, isn't it?
So I created a comprehensive, deep system for clients.
You have to leave and come back so it does this.
It can create, here's the full list of what it can do. It can create pages. Pages are good for compartmentalizing steps and compartmentalizing projects. So let's say treat each property as a project in itself. So it has 1 page, but within that page, you can compartmentalize tasks that you need for that property. So you create further subpages, and under those subpages, you can create more subpages. Okay. You can also do create to-do lists. And here's the thing, what I really like, let's say you just want to get on with something. You don't want to understand Notion for a bit. So you create a to-do list. You go, all right, I need to meet VA. I need to pay bank. I need to call estate agent. Okay, so you do that. And then you tell the VA, can you please turn this into a to-do list? And here's the only thing that the VA needs to do is select and turn that into a to-do list, or turn that into a numbered list even, so it's pretty flexible and pretty nice is what I say. That's it, guys, with 2 minutes to 10 a.m. and I'm afraid I kind of got carried away, so happy to do Q&A for the next 30 minutes if you like. I'm available still for the next 30 minutes. I did say this might run all the way up to 9:30 today. So I'm just gonna stop sharing my screen. You might have some sensitive questions. I'm gonna stop record.
It'd be quite good.
Okay, just for the benefit of people watching this replay, we're doing a Q&A session now, and the previous question was about can you use Notion to upload and store videos? And the quick answer was yes, you can do that. But I think the smarter way of using Notion is that you simply use it as a jump-off point. You can paste the link onto Notion, and it redirects over to YouTube as the main platform, because YouTube is a better platform for storing and sharing video content. Okay. Hopefully I covered most of what we discussed the last 5 minutes on that note, Aaron.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. And then I moved on to what Notion what Notion is utilize. For me, this is how I use Notion. Between a property investor, business owner, and their VA, Notion is really great for a location for carrying out business tasks. Like, you can carry out business tasks right here on Notion in instances where you've got checklists, where you manage and organize files and records, and where you monitor progress of each project, for example. Okay. Also, Notion is really good for recording what tasks are being carried out by the VA, is for monitoring projects and processes and tasks and checklists, and for reviewing what tasks were carried out and other projects that is currently ongoing within the property investors' day-to-day running of their business. Does that help? I just want to ask the group maybe if they can see how this might work for their business, how they might utilize or benefit Notion as a tool that they can leverage to finally and further systemize their business.
Yes, I can. Can I talk a sec?
Yeah, absolutely. You happy for me to keep recording?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, my I've got a couple of questions on this. Obviously our VA, are they up to speed on Notion, or they're going to have to get up to speed if we start using it? How does that work?
You are both going to have to learn Notion, but it really is so simple that it's like typing on a Word document. It even looks a bit like a Word document. And you don't even need to use any of the features to start with. So I showed you earlier that you can just start typing whatever you want to start typing, and then you can turn that into a checklist. And even if you just have one space and all you have is a checklist, you're 5 minutes into starting systemizing your business.
Okay.
Would you mind like kind of describing me if there was one thing or the first thing that you would systemize in your business, what would that be? And I'll kind of live right now see if I can recreate and translate that onto a system.
I would, just a question. I mean, obviously you're a very, very methodical person, and I'm not. And I think being the way I am, I would be in danger of putting too much rubbish in the wrong order in the wrong place, and you end up with more of a mess than you've even started with. So that must be very, because it's so flexible, because I love it, because it looks flexible, but it is a worry.
I'll just say something there.
Go on, Aaron.
Yeah, I think a lot of this really, I'm like you. Sorry, what's your name?
Neil.
Yeah, all right, Neil. I'm the same. I'm an unorganized person that is using all these systems to try to get organized. And what I find is that you use one thing and then everyone gets used to it, and then all of a sudden something better comes along. So, yeah, I mean, the flexibility of Notion over Asana here, I don't know. I mean, obviously, Cristina, you've got everything really, like when you're talking about light bulbs and in each room and that type of thing. How would you then control the person who puts it in? Because obviously the VA is not putting it in, and they're the people that are very unorganized and don't give a toss usually. The workmen that you get, and that's I couldn't get that one, so I put this one in, and it's completely the wrong one. It's the light bulb's too bright, or even the light fitting is the wrong bayonet type. In the tenants nick the light bulbs from the corridors when they shouldn't have put those in. You're never going to stop those problems, right? So there's only so much that you can do with these systems. Is my point, I suppose, in terms of like trying to keep things absolutely 100% of a record. You'll probably find that the light bulb is not the same light bulb that you thought it was if you go around and actually check those light bulbs.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. So there's like the intention and then the actual reality of things. All I can say to that is, with anything, just be patient with yourself. We're not trying to solve everything, systemize everything, and make things perfect, right? What we're trying to do is address small chunks of our business. So in relation to your earlier question, and also touching up on what Neil's a concern was, there's, top of my head, maybe two approaches you can do here. One, as a business owner, you can initiate which task, identify and initiate which task you'd like to start off in terms of systemizing. And as much as I'm raving about Notion, you do not have to use Notion. If you're using Asana, that's absolutely fantastic. Okay. Let's say you're using Asana. Okay, so you've got Michelle carrying out lead generation, for example, Neil. Does she already use Asana right now?
Yes, she does. But I would honestly say that I've only really touched on it, and are only just starting to sort of get into it a little bit. And it does restrict me. And when you've done what you've done on Notion, I like what Notion does because it's intuitive. That's what I like about it.
Okay.
I'm actually probably I don't know about Aaron, but I'm in a position now where I'm actually ready to jump because of the fact that I've only probably learned 25% of it. So I don't want to carry on with something that doesn't work when I can see how Notion works. But my biggest fear is in the early stages of any database, you can make more of a mess of something and then make it more complicated for yourself. If you don't set, it's a foundations. You don't set the foundations up correctly, then you screw yourself up going forward, and it's a lot more difficult to get it right.
It is, but it doesn't mean it's hopeless. Okay. So, if Michelle already has a board on Asana, if you wanted Michelle to try out Notion, get her to recreate the same board. You're not doing anything new. You're simply mirroring the same board that she already has on Asana onto Notion. So let's say that board is a lead generation board. I'm going to guess what the steps are. Maybe the first one is data scraping. And maybe the next one is show to Neil for approval or something to that effect. And then maybe prepare DTV letters. Okay. And then the final step maybe is something like send campaign.
Right.
Let's say she did an HMO campaign for you on the, 22nd of October. HMO, Chelmsford. I'm gonna guess here, okay, Neil. I don't actually know.
Yeah.
22nd October. Okay. Each of the campaigns that she's carried out for you so far, she only needs to create one. I don't know, it's a very light gray. I don't know if you can see it, but there's a
Yeah.
new button here. It creates a page like this. It can be bare bones, and then all of the files that the data scraping files that Michelle has created, she can upload onto here file, and she'll upload it. Okay, she can choose the file wherever it's located. I don't know, let's just start with that for a second. Okay, and then she can tag you and say Neil for approval. You're okay, sorry, you're not on my page, sorry, my kind of group, so I can't actually tag you, but let's say I'm gonna tag me there. Let's say I'm the one the VA is tagging for approval. And that's it, you can leave it at that, okay? And then she'll move it there because she started data. Oh wait, why doesn't that say data scraping? Data scraping. So she moves it here. She's waiting for your approval. You tell her approved. Sign your name, Neil. And then she goes, great, I'm gonna prepare the letters. And then she uploads the PDF letters. Oh, sorry.
So that was shared in that was stored in the cloud, that file, right, on their
Yes.
servers.
Yes.
Right.
And then let's say Neil, you approve that one, and then she goes, great, I'm gonna send a campaign. That's it. Next time she creates a campaign for you, she'll start here again. HMO campaign, Braintree. This time it was the 1st of November. She does the same process. So you've got here, just by creating a board, that's your process already. That's the pipeline building process. There.
Liam, it is unbelievable. I think how flexible this is exactly what I've been looking for a long time, because we used CRMs before, homemade ones, and they've always been rubbish. And what I find is the other ones were too flat. Even Asana's got its limitations. This one doesn't seem to have it.
I see what you mean. I know what you mean by flat, because this one can go as deep as you want it, because within each page you can then go things like, okay, what can I do? I can create a timeline, I can create a board. Let's say I can even create okay, a board here, for example. I'm just gonna hide this. It just does that. I've got here, let's say interested, rejected. Remember, this is just per campaign. Rejected, follow up, or no, maybe offered, or this, or viewed. You viewed the property, okay? So you go every day or every week, you have a weekly meeting with Michelle. Michelle, did anyone reply to our letters? Hopefully Michelle would have done this before the meeting, and she will go, yes, we've got a John Peters who replied. We've got an Amanda who said, please remove my details. And then you go, oh, right, okay, let's look at John Peters. And then it's not Michelle, it's not your VA's job to like go into the sales process questions with John Peters. It will be the VA's job to forward, let's say you use All Day PA, to forward the notification to you. copy and paste. Okay, here's the message from All Day PA. Okay, here's John's telephone number, or she can already create something here that says tel number. Okay, and then John is selling a 2-bed terrace, asking for 275, etc. Okay, you don't need to go into too deep a detail when you use All Day PA to ask the questions. And then you go, all right, let me give John a call. So where were we? Chelmsford. Okay, then you pick up from where Michelle leaves off. Okay, and then you go, okay, I'm going to, sorry, of course I'm like skipping some process here. Okay, call vendor. You go, all right, I'm going to call the vendor. And then you go, both of you, when you look at this board, you can systemize even to the point of anything that's blue color is something for you to do. Anything that's red color is something, you know, I'm super hyper systemizing this to death, right? So you don't have to go through all of this, but I'm just showing you the flexibility of what and the possibility of what can be achieved. So then you kind of understand, okay, where does Michelle's responsibility end and where do I come in as the business owner, viewing the property, stacking the deals, working out how to finance this property. That's all yours, all the way then to, let's say we go to the property, the offer has been accepted, then we can create a new process here. What can that process be? This can be conveyancing. Okay, so we create another board. So you're simply creating a template for how you do the process. Okay, when does Michelle start again? Michelle needs to email all the documents over to the solicitor. Do you understand what I mean? And so even with like 2 separate processes, you can move them about there. So I don't know, does this help? Am I getting too detailed about this?
Oh, that's really good.
I think it's wonderful, but the only thing I would say is the fact you've run ahead of my brain, and it all looks fantastic, but I think it will take a while to get your head around how to build this.
Can I just ask Christina, are you able, did you say at the beginning that you run a service where you've just got 2 or 3 VAs and then you're kind of managing and training them for clients?
Yes, so I do that. Here's what I do. This is the full system, okay? Where what I do is the client tells me, we have a strategy session. What do they need? Because they may not need a lead generation VA. They may not need a bookkeeping VA. So we go through a process of me understanding exactly how I can help them and where the business is going. And I only bolt on a VA for them that they need for any given time. And like you're working with Kay right now. You can then fire Kay in her current role, elevate her to be your PA, personal, like an executive assistant instead of like an admin assistant. Then you've replaced her and have all the other management process and admin process outsourced to different VAs. We can do it like that.
I'd be definitely interested in that, definitely, because we could then build it from scratch. Like, I mean, I'm not buying any property at the moment, but I just happen to be wanting to buy my own property. So obviously, Kay is doing that with you, that training, but of course not really going to any use at the moment because anyway, we can talk about that, right? Yes. But I think I'd definitely be interested in that because it's about building a team of VAs, isn't it? If one person leaves and you've got another one and you've got another one and all the systems are in place because they've been built from scratch up, and then if you're available to to help with with problems with those systems. That's always good, isn't it?
I think you're dead right there, and also I think that it's quite good to have VAs for specialist things. For in other words, if you've got a VA that's good at media and websites, there's no point in having one that's going to do that and finance and all the other stuff. You need that flexibility of the specialism.
Yeah, I just totally agree with that. Like, people have definitely got. Well, I've never not really employed many staff. I've always just been on my own, for years in property. Then the last 5 years or 10 years started employing one or two people, and I'm trying to get them to be the superhero, and it doesn't work. And then of course they're always making mistakes, and then they realise how invaluable they are, and that's not the place to be at all, is it? If you've got and just since splitting it up, you've just got the repairs guy to move people in, and then that really widens my spectrum about who we can find near the properties, which means I'm not constantly worried about the manager leaving, that the person who will hopefully be easier to replace.
Yeah. For any business owner, the fear of relying too much on one person is enough to scare you at night and keep you
sleepless nights. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I really like the attitude of, we want to make all our stuff redundant, okay? Because not for anything negative, it allows for growth within your business, because it means that they can be replaced. If they're not replaceable, then that's like, it's not movable. You can't grow, right? Because there's a ceiling. That's it. She leaves. That's right. Then you start over again. So yeah, that's my best kind of outsourcing philosophy, that everyone, including yourself, has to be replaceable. And
I've listened to a lot of books about operations management. It's just standard, as soon as a company gets of any kind of size, that's what they do. That's what Tesco's does. They do it very well, right? And all the systems and processes in place, and managers and different level managers.
Can I just ask Christine?
Go on, Locadia.
You were talking about these different softwares. So like, if you are to source a VA for, like, if I want a VA, do I have to tell me which software I would want to use, or you just teach them whatever software you want? Well, how does that work?
Okay, that's a really good question. When it comes to third-party software, let's say you run an Airbnb and you use Pass the Keys or Keygo or Avivo, whatever it is, that is your responsibility to either train the VA on how to do it, or get the VA to observe how you do things so that she can translate it onto a system. Does that help? Anything else? Using Notion, data scraping, all the skills that you need for data scraping, that is our responsibility to get the VAs trained beforehand. We can't predict all the platforms and the software that any business owner can use. That's why we say, if it's a third-party software, the responsibility is on you to at least show the VA on how to do it. We'll then translate it back onto a system so that it's part of your process, your own business workspace. Does that help? Does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Just a heads up, guys, I'll need to leave in about 3 minutes because I do have another Zoom. But I'm more than happy to use up the next few minutes to answer some more questions, or we can discuss this further by email individually if you've got individual concerns. I'm more than happy to run a Notion workshop maybe in 2-3 weeks time. I will coordinate with everyone, all my clients, to see what, when they can attend. Would this help everyone if I did a...
Brilliant. Thanks very much.
100%, definitely. Yeah. For that. Yeah.
Happy to do that.
And also, obviously, are there any YouTube, in the meantime, are there any YouTube videos you could point us to for Notion to give up for the basics? I mean, the real basic
Absolutely.
starter.
Yes, I can do that. Right now, I'll paste it in the chat box.
Right.
Just 1 second. So there's all of
Do you
this.
mind if I ask Neil, whereabouts are you based?
I'm in Essex.
Oh, right, okay, my dad's in Essex. He's got properties in Jaywick.
Oh, right, okay, fair enough. Yes,
Yeah.
they're very interesting properties like that.
Yeah, they used to be the highest yield in the country, I think, when he bought them. I think he bought them for about £5 grand or £2 each or something. Back in the
Really?
90s. Yeah. It's got they're little holiday homes.
I've emailed you, Aaron. I don't know whether you want to contact, but I think it's a good idea to have a chat sometime.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Contact. Have you got? So you got my email?
Yeah, I got your email off your
Brilliant.
yeah.
Guys, I'm going to paste in the chat box the YouTube channel of Notion. So that direct from Notion. That's not like other YouTube content creators take on Notion. Okay, so just go straight to Notion. That's their channel. It's in the chat box. I'll also paste it in the replay that I'll distribute by emails to everyone.
Okay.
Mary Grace, I'd love to hear from you. You're the only VA who's attending today.
Yeah.
The rest are clients. How was it for you? You've got a minute to share with the group.
Yeah, actually, me and my client started to use Trello in our project management, but I think I will advise my client regarding the Notion
Okay.
because yeah.
I'll make sure that I'll send the replay to Lee so that he can watch what you were able to learn today. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna say goodbye. So I hope you enjoyed
Thank you.
session. We'll do another one this time specifically just for how to use Notion. Okay. Any questions? You can email me. Thank you all for joining.
Okay,
Bye.
thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Cheers.
Christina.
Yeah. Bye.